Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our next live stream. I'll be your producer for this session. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer live. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speakers for today. Thank you for joining.
Hey, hello, and good
Hello,
morning.
hello.
Good morning and good evening too. It depends on where you are. I bet you're from all over the world. All right, so welcome to our second episode of Microsoft 365 Copilot Agent Playbook. This is a 4-part series all about building agent for Copilot. All right. So yeah, my name is Tomomi Imura, and I'm working for developer advocacy here in Microsoft, and I'm joined by Seb Lepart.
Hey,
Yay!
Tomomi. I'm happy to be here today. Thanks for waking up so early for us.
yeah, you can see it's pretty dark here. It's early in the morning, but you might see the sun's rising. It is getting brighter here. All right, so okay. I'm gonna give you a high-level overview on Work IQ first. All right, so, okay. All right, so Microsoft IQ has a 4 layers that helps agent understand your organization. They act like colleagues who has a business insight for your company or organizations. So we got Work IQ gets how your people work and collaborate. And Fabric IQ gets how your business operates. And Web IQ gets how you connect to web intelligence. And Foundry IQ gets how you, I could say, your agent centralize internal knowledge. And today we're going to talk about Work IQ, the first one here. And it's a developer tool that's created around the work intelligence. So the declarative agents know your work data, but on top of that, Work IQ pulls context from email, chat, meetings, and documents to build a semantic understanding of how you work, and not just what data you have. And chat lets agent talk with people and with other agent. And context gives agent a grounded understanding of what's happening across the organization. And tool give agent a way to get information and take actions across Microsoft 365. And a workspace gives the agent a place to actually work. And things like, handling long tasks, keeping state, sharing progress with other agent, and things like that. And here's how Work IQ runs the answers. And let's say a user asks, what did my manager email me about this week? And instead of just dumping raw emails, it replies, Priya sent 3 emails about the Q3 budget review. She needs your hit the numbers by Friday, blah, blah, blah. And it links back to those emails in Outlook. So the user can verify that. So Work IQ synthesizes with sources, not just a raw data dump. And you can connect Work IQ in 3 different ways. So the first one is A to A, it's agent to agent. It's for when one agent needs to hand off a task to another. And that's a multi-agent orchestration. An agent tool, you use MCP, where Work IQ acts as kind of like a plugin capability. And human to agent, or I guess it device to agent in the case, that's for user-facing apps. And you can choose a protocol depends on what your scenario is. My first scenario can be like delegation of a task to an agent. Sorry, my cats are fighting. And when you have ops agent ask work IQ to investigate regression, well, another scenario can be a little different. So something like when you have automation and when an event, like something like, customer inquiry or something, something happens, and that triggers work IQ to call another agent headlessly. In that case, your mental model will be like ask another expert agent, and you use A2A. And when you have a tool-based context access, like CLI, like coding system like GitHub Copilot, your mental model use another tool, and you can use MCP protocol. And the third one would be like mobile web app via API. So when you have something like non-conversational status tracking tool and a web interface and things like that. So when you like call a service or API, you use REST. So yeah, that's how you can pick the right protocol. Oh yeah, and you can try WorkIQ Handy from your terminal. You can use WorkIQ CLI directory, or you can use that within a GitHub Copilot CLI, as a WorkIQ plugin. And that gets context from this WorkIQ unified MCP server. So you can pull all kind of information from this single MCP server. And here's a super quick demo in a GitHub Copilot CLI. So let's say I already have WorkIQ plugin installed. And within GitHub Copilot, I can ask things in natural language. Things like, who are my immediate teammates? Well, I know the answers, of course. I know who I work with, and it's asking my permission. So it's calling MCP, I ask. And yeah, and that looks good. Like, again, I know that. So I can ask another questions like, find the most recent PowerPoint file that I modified. I misspelled it, but it's fine. So it's asking my permission again, hit yes. Yeah, it looks like it finds this slide. So this is a slide that you're watching right now. So yeah, that looks good. And yeah, if you want to build an agent, like WorkIQ enabled agents, you can use a WorkIQ developer tool, or you can call it Wicked. Yeah, it's Wicked. So Wicked is a unified toolset that helps you build, validate, publish, and manage Copilot agents from a single workflow. And you can install that, depends on what platform you use, or you can use npm install. Yeah, and here's some commands you can use. I'm not gonna go through too much about the detail right now because, well, you're gonna see the action soon. Sep's gonna give the demo, so all right. And you can also use, like again, within a GitHub Copilot CLI, you can use a natural language. Like if you want to create agent, just say so. And you can see more recipes and a cookbook here. All right. So yeah, so it was my brief overview from me. And now let's see the WorkIQ and Wicked in action. So from now on, we are working for this cafe called Whisker Works. So, all right, so Seb, take it away.
Thanks, Tomomi. So first, I think it's great. Tomomi loves cats. She's been the kind of the cat advocate for such a long time. And when we were discussing how we're going to make our demos happen, we're like, let's do it. Let's do a full-on
Yeah.
cat experience straight using the WorkIQ developer tools, and let's just move on with this. So, as Tomomi said, WorkIQ is super useful to get context from your organizational data, but then how do you build on top of that data? And that's what we're going to do today. We will be building end-to-end an agent using both Wicked, so the developer tooling to allow building plugins and agents for Copilot, but also we're going to use WorkIQ to ground some of that context inside some of the discussions that we might have had in the past to drive some of these things. So WorkIQ DevTools is basically, at the simplest like way of thinking about it, is a very simple CLI. It is a terminal-based experience that allows you to do so many things. That's what I'm showing you right now. It's we have the option to create agents, plugins, and so many things as part of it. But in a world where software development is really shifting towards agentic development, we also built an entire set of skills that knows deeply about the business of building plugins and agents to make sure that we remove kind of all the guesswork from anything you'd be doing into WorkIQ to basically bring new agents or new plugins to leverage them straight into WorkIQ. So let me show you something. Let me just open that here, then open that. So everything started with this. Let me zoom in a little bit. So Tomomi and I were running the the Whiskerworks Cat Cafe, and we've had a discussion yesterday on, hey, let's kind of automate that business a little bit more. Let's make that more AI era based. Let's make sure that we can benefit from the value that our Copilot license offers us and how we can really bring that to everybody in our organization. So first, created that thread in Teams, and then Tommy told me, hey, she just created a brand new MCP server. Wow, that is kind of cool, right? I want to build an agent that reaches out to my line of business data and helps me make better decision, take action on my business, my stock, my schedule, maybe the roster of cat that we currently have in the cafe that people can go and pet, all these kind of things. So yes, we could absolutely do that. And then I came in and added a little bit more context. I said, yeah, cool, we could do that. We could connect it to our SharePoint data. And here we have all of our documents that we're using to manage our business. So that is kind of the Whiskerworks folder we have somewhere into SharePoint. And then Rabia, in the middle of the night, she's like, hey, look at that. I just found a really cool icon that marketing provided us. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I think with all of these ingredients, I can have GitHub Copilot create me the entire recipe and then build from scratch this agent. So if you're up for the challenge and you're ready for a little bit of interesting dive into this experience, let me open up GitHub Copilot right here and let's start. So here's the prompt that I want to use for this specific demo. So that's the only thing I'm going to say. Rabia, Tomomi, and I have been talking about building some Copilot plugins and agents for our Whiskerworks Cat Cafe business so we can use them in both Copilot Chat and Cowork. Because yes, Wicked allows you to customize all the experiences that Copilot provide, both from chat, Cowork, and so much more landing spaces in the future. First, write a spec based on the entire content of that chat. So let's use WorkIQ to go on, look at the content that lives in that chat and turn that into an entire specification that can be used for Wicked, and then build it as a new Copilot extension with Wicked. So let's launch it and let's see what happens. We're going to look at the screen a little bit. Then what I'm suggesting, Tomomi, if you don't mind, I'm going to move on to an existing demo that I already ran this exact prompt, just so we can cut to the real cool things, and I can really show you the entire demo instead of looking at Copilot building our agent. So first, what it does, it goes on and it will get kind of the information about this specific chat. So it's going to go into Work IQ. It's going to figure out all the Teams chat conversations that is involving me, Tomomi, and Rabia. We'll figure out that we have that chat that I just showed you a couple minutes ago. And then we'll start building all the things that it needs to build to generate context. So it's literally go into Work IQ, identify the areas, grab the content from it, inject it into GitHub Copilot. Here we're using the CLI. Any GitHub Copilot experiences would work. You can use the app, you can use the CLI, you would be able to use VS Code if that's your preferred experience. The agents app that we also have, like any of those will actually work. And then will, from that context, will generate the entire spec, so on and so forth. So we're gonna let it go a little bit. But what I can show you is what I already have been cooking in the back end. So let me go here and basically the exact same prompt. No surprises here. We know how these things work. It's okay. It's a demo. And now it used two of the skills that we have. The Work IQ skill that basically teaches GitHub Copilot on how to go to Work IQ, and the Wicked skill that teaches GitHub Copilot how to build an agent and a Copilot plugin for Work IQ. So it goes on, did the exact same thing, right? Went on this, did this here, then had found the matching Teams group chat. The accessible conversation contains 7 messages across 2 conversation segments, and so on and so forth. And it embedded the entire conversation here. And here, if I want to go, I can see the entire, what we call the tool output, which is basically the entire content from Work IQ coming back to us to do that. So it was able to identify everything. So for GitHub Copilot now, it knows what it needs to do. So first, it yields a clear first build, which is a reusable WhiskerWorks extension combining the existing MCP server, a declarative agent, SharePoint and email grounding, and the provided brand direction. So it figured all of that through that single chat, and then it looks at the entire Wicked tool chain. It went on, it looked at the MCP server. Okay, I was able to find it directly from the ak.ms. That's the real URL. We're fine. Then after that, it did some work into, okay, is that a real MCP server? Is that a valid one? Is it online? Does it have authentication? So I can react based on the use cases. If it has auth, it's going to ask me for a way to authenticate. If it does not, in this case, it just goes on and does all the things. Now it even tells me your MCP server is very, very concrete. It has a tool for morning briefs, supply planning and submission, adoption matching, document search, and usage metric. So now I know what are the capabilities that are being provided by that MCP server. And then that's where it goes, and it basically here, it scaffolds the project. It went on, it was able to automatically create all the different files. So you see how those are all files that did not exist before. And then it was able to go and read them to get the context from them, to understand what it really created, to know what are the next steps that needs to happen in the end. And after that, it went here, it downloaded the image from the chat directly from here. Then it went on, it says, okay, so we have our MVP, we're good. We're using an authenticated dev tunnel endpoint to access the MCP server. Everything works now. You know what? It built it for us. It took probably between maybe 5 to 6 minutes, maybe, to get there, to get the content from Work IQ, generate the spec, build the agent, and then if I open this exact doc here, or that, not doc, but that folder, I'm going to find this here. So now I'm going to find that full-on structure that now lives into VS Code. So we have been creating an agent, but not an agent using any of our low code or maker tooling. We're really building a pro dev tooling that will be stored onto source code, into GitHub, or wherever you want to store it. So that way you can do PR reviews on updates to instructions, on updates to skills, on any of the configuration, and so on. It also stored, and that's really interesting, it stored the entire spec here. So now my spec actually lives side by side with my code. So now I can keep these two side by side. So they will evolve together as we're evolving the agent. We're going to also want to evolve the spec. So when was the last time, Tomomi, you went back to a spec after you added some stuff into coding? That's the beauty here. Now we have a
Yeah.
spec that represents the like living nature of this agent, but we're going to be able to update it as we're doing it. And I can go on, and you're going to see everything that is here, how it was grounded, what's the goal, what are the non-goals, and so on and so forth. What's the architecture? Like it built all of that from us.
That's
Th-
insane. You
Then,
just create from scratch by just,
yeah,
I mean, having to read the email, not email, I mean, to check context.
yeah, but imagine. So we know, especially in this world where everything goes super fast, a lot of these specs are actually a meeting that was recorded, a scrappy Word document that will never get updated, maybe two lines in a chat, and maybe it's just like a channel conversation that went on and on and on, and everybody chimed in. All the perspectives are there. With this context, we should be able to generate a spec. And that's really where I think WorkIQ, to ground your building into organizational context, is fabulous. It's literally fabulous. So it built my agent. What do we have in the agent? First, we have a name, the Whisker Works Cat Cafe. We have our icon, including our, oh, look at that. Look at that Whisker Works Cat Cafe icon. It's amazing. A couple of short descriptions, so on and so forth. And then it decided on its own to create me a skill. That skill would be what will be I will be using to run the Whisker Works operation. Then it knows how to call into our plugins. It knows how to talk to our servers. It knows how to format the content, and so on and so forth. So this is like reusable knowledge that we provide to the underlying agent. We say, you know what? Go and use this as your guidelines. So we can go and see it. And then there's a full on when to use the skill, how,
Oh,
like the morning operations, it uses this show morning brief. That is the tool coming from the MCP server. So when I say show me my morning brief or do my morning operations, semantically it's going to be able to understand and call the right thing, and so on and so forth for the entire really of the skill. Then what else? We have an agent connector. That agent connector is a way to provide an MCP server as a simple plug and play thing. So as they're bundled together in the same plugin, the skill and the MCP server, they will be able to be used together. So that's why we're able to use the name of the tool into the skill, because now we can just say skill, call this MCP. Both are always aligned together. And finally, we just said that we wanted to have a declarative agent to use that. So we have it. We have a declarative agent. And this declarative agent has a couple of things here. It has a name, a set of instructions, some behavior overrides. For example, We want to discourage the model knowledge, so don't fabricate information, or how AI loves to call it, don't hallucinate on anything. Ground your responses in real business context that you found, not based on the knowledge that lives into the model. And then here we want to be quick. We're quick at the Whisker Works Cat Cafe. We don't want to wait. So in this case, we always want to default to the quick response models that we have there. And then we set up our capabilities here, name and emails. OneDrive and SharePoint email with the URL that was shared earlier in the chat. That's it. We have it. We built it, but it's still just code. And that
It's
is
more than the prompt to engineering.
yeah. But now let's see how we basically bring that to the next level, right? We built it, we have code. How do we actually bring it to Copilot? How do we test it? How can we go and do that? And it's pretty simple, right? The only thing you need to do, ask for it. Can you provision the dev environment so I can test it? And here what's going to happen is we're going to use the Wicked CLI to provision that. So the Wicked CLI is logged into a tenant that requires the M365 Copilot license, and then everything goes in. It provisions it. It makes it available for me. So now I can go and simply test it. Now I got this beautiful link back from it. I know where the package is and so on. Gives me a little bit of insights around it. So why don't we go and test it? Are you ready? Do you think it's gonna work?
I hope so.
So let me go to chat for a second, and let me open up here. I have on the left the Whisker Works agent. I'm gonna do that. Now I'm in Miss Whisker Works here, and let me grab this prompt here, which is basically what are the adoption policies? When can somebody leave with a cat? When they come, like, how can we provide a new home for that cat? So what are the policies? So let me just call it, that's really where also agents are also not just grounded to be built, but grounded in work IQ to provide the context. Here, it won't invent out of nowhere an adoption policy. It will look into the documents that we have shared with the agent. It's going to figure out, is a supervised matching process, not an instant adoption. And then there's a full-on adoption workflow. This is perfect. Somebody, a new employee at the cafe comes in. Somebody comes, I love this cat. How can I bring it home? Wait a second. There's a process, and so on and so forth. And this will basically fully explain to any employee that is using the Whisker Works agent, how does this work? And now everything is here. What are the non-negotiable rules and so on and so forth? And now you found that, hey, I have exactly the adoption policy and the matching guide. I can go in here, I can open it, I can ask more questions about it, and then I can just move on and on and on with this one. So it's pretty powerful. It's super helpful for the users that are using it, but it's not all. We said that we had a skill. We said that we had an MCP server, right? So we could have added those straight into the agent. The agent would absolutely work with this. Co-work would also work with this, and I think that's a good moment to move into co-work and see what a new experience can actually provide you in terms of co-work. Think about it, Tomomi. Every week, we want to be able to schedule our automated briefing, right? We want to make sure that every Monday we know what to do, what stock we have is low, so on and so forth. So I can go to co-work, can create a new task, or I can actually go into my automations. And here you see, I have my Whisker Works weekly supply plan that is grounded in a couple of things. But before we go in here, let me show you the customized pane here. It's coming up. In the customize area, you will find that I do find my WhiskerWorks plugin right here. What do we have here? It tells me that I do have an MCP and that I do have a skill. And I can even look into the skill to see exactly what is the content of it, and I understand what is going to happen when I run the skill. Very transparent in the way to do that. I can come back and I can basically say, I can actually go create a new task, just start and say, show me the morning briefing for WhiskerWorks. And now CoWork will understand the intent, understand that it was customized with this plugin. So the plugin is now available to this very specific task. And then we'll just go on. It found a skill. It says, oh, wait a second. I have a skill that helps you run your business. So let me use it. And then I say, oh, wait a second. What is this?
Ooh.
What is this? Let me X this so we have it a little bit bigger. So this is our MCP server. Both Copilot Chat and Copilot Cowork support the MCP app standard to provide a UX on top of your MCP tools. That means that now that super rich briefing, I can have it full screen, have everything, understand who's working today, what's our cat welfare right now, what are the events that is happening this week. Uh-oh, oat milk. We're low on oat milk, and we know how this is important. Still, it gives me that really, really good experience that I can have, but also it doesn't only give me the UX, it also gives me the full experience in, let me go here. It also has the data, so I can actually read it also right here. So it's not just a UX, it also returns the data. So you could use that data to potentially provide something else, an email, generate a report, whatsoever. Anything that Cowork is really good at to really help you, like build a status deck for this week operations of WhiskerWorks, it would be able to do it. So that's really cool. And it allows us to have all these cool things around like automations, for example, where I was able to say every week on Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, use the operations and supply information to generate a full plan for Tomomi and Rabia, include the details, explicitly highlight the low stock, and so on and so forth, which I actually sent you the report a little bit earlier. If I can find that chat back, I was able to run that this morning, and now you see the full-on status that would automatically sent to you in Rabia with everything there, respecting the exact skill that we just did. So now skill plus MCP together in Cowork, creating, generating useful content, sending straight using WorkIQ, because here we're using WorkIQ to send it back to the people that are on the tool line here, and that's it.
That's so cool. Well, I would say wicked, right? I guess
It is
if
pretty
anyone's from
wicked.
Boston, I think that's a Boston slang. For cool. Yeah.
So I think that's really where the value of authoring agentically is. It really comes in and helps you deeply building something rapidly so you can really unlock value rapidly. Now, there's so many things that can happen from there. You can go, you can tune it, you can add capabilities, all that you can do it straight from the natural language. Add a new Teams chat as grounded data. Add emails and the folders that we have with our, I don't know, our testimonials that came back by emails. You could also add them directly there. So this is really things that can be done in the future to improve the quality of this agent. But if I go here, now I did it, I open it in VS Code. We already did that, so it won't go there. Again, if I can do that. But what is really interesting, and I won't go too deep into this, but now that Wicked knows how to call the agent, work with the agent, edit the agent, understand the quality of an agent, why wouldn't it basically use some of the evaluation tooling we have and basically do a hill climb, which is iteratively make sure that the agent we're creating is according to the spec and according to the quality that we have. That's what I did. And I ran it for quite some time. And then in the end, it went to approximately around 80% of an eval in the end. So here actually it's 76.5. And then was able to massively improve this experience automatically, autonomously. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to work on anything. And finally, I did something that is out of the regular building capabilities, which is Wicked is not just about building the agent. Building is the entire life cycle. From I have an idea, that chat that we had earlier, I want to build it. I want to make sure that it's useful so I can test it. Then I want to make sure that it's high quality so I can eval it. And then after that, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm ready for prime time. I want to publish that. I want to make it available to my entire organization. Or maybe I want to do it just with a very specific group of people. And that's really where publishing comes into play. You have the option to share with one or multiple users directly. You have the option to share with your entire tenant, or maybe what you want to do is to make it available for the whole organization with your IT admin being able to approve your agent and make sure this is the governed corporate Whisker Works operation agent. And then that's exactly what we did here. It went on. My admin got the request and was able to do that. And now it is available right here, tenant wide. And I can just go on and share this specific link with anybody because now everybody has access to this agent. And I was able to really do that and bring the content straight into everybody's eyes. So anybody that wants to be successful with AI, Copilot, and building agents, they got what they needed. The agent went from a Teams chat to a governed piece of software that is now available throughout Copilot. So that's really the entirety of the life cycle. But there's one aspect that is missing. What if, Tomomi, you think that this is bad? In the end, maybe you're like, you know what? I don't really like it. I don't like the response style. I don't like the content coming back. There are errors. There's hallucinations. Well, as part of Copilot, there's always that ability to use thumbs up. And let me go back to my adoption policy so I can actually have a something already there. I have thumbs up, thumbs down. I also now have the ability to see this as usage, right? So I can one person using it, two-person using it, 60-person using it, 100 people using it. Well, that's exactly what one of the agents that we built does automatically. So one of the agents that we built is called the Insights agent. And the Insights agent is fully baked into Wicked. So I can just say, tell me about the performance of my agent. And it's going to automatically go talk to the Insights agent and get data back from Insights agent to show me how many thumbs up, How many thumbs down? What's the feedback that I'm getting from the end user? Is it being used? Yes or no? And that's really kind of to complete the loop. So now I can go back to the beginning. I can go from like real customer signals back to improving, configuring, and so on. So here, for example, I can track the growth of Whisker had last week. It's a brand new agent. I don't know how much data I'm going to get from it. It's a little bit live demo. Not too sure about what we're going to get here. We'll see. Crossing fingers. Maybe it's not going to have data. Maybe it's going to have very little data. But hey, you know what? It's live. We want to go and show you the real thing. So let's do it. So now it's going on. It talks to Insights Agent. It's going to kind of work everything together and should give me an interesting report back from this agent. I was not
Yeah.
able.
Ah.
Um, that's why it's because of the last week. It's probably because it hasn't have enough data. We should wait a couple of days, but as soon as this happens, we would be able to to do that. So that's really where. And in the agentic experience, I can do the same thing. Like, show me with the right words here. Show me the performance of the Whisker or agent, um, its usage trends and thumbs up down rate. And automatically that's going to be sent to the agent, and I'm going to be able to straight into the agentic experience. I will be able to understand what's happening over there. And that's what Wicked is, the full life cycle that never ends, because that's an endless loop that needs to go back, re-improve, add new value so the users are always happy with the results that we've had.
So cool. The entire life cycle, huh? Yeah.
And a single tool, right? Like
Yeah.
you've been using um, only either the CLI or the agentic experience to drive the entire feed of capabilities. And I think that's really where it it makes a huge difference. Is you're using one thing, we're guiding you toward the process, and that's it.
Yay. Cool. Alrighty. So hope you enjoyed it. And before we are going on Q&A, let me see. So yeah, we got some resources here you can take a look at. And let me see what I have to tell you about the next session. It's next week, September 1st, the same time. And yeah, we mentioned about MCP. And yeah, so next session is all about MCP. So you gotta watch that. And yeah, I think we're taking some questions here. All
Let's
right.
go see. Shoot them. I'm ready.
All
Only
right.
the good, only the good ones though.
Um, let's see. I'm looking at the chat here. All right, from Jesse Boy. Can we have call work IQ MCP server from the Copilot declarative agent?
Oh, that is a good question. Yes, you can. You absolutely can hook up the MCP server directly from the DA. You're going to have to provide your own client ID, client secret into your registration. But yes, you will be able to use the MCP server of WorkIQ inside the DA to basically extend the capabilities that the DA can do. So, for example, it can use any of the actions that are available on Microsoft Graph. You will be able to use any of the tools that are available, and so on and so forth. All of those are absolutely possible. It is really cool. Um, Note here, because all of that will go through WorkIQ, the service specifically, and not the internal M365 grounded data like the internal WorkIQ. That is going to be traffic that will be billed at the usage.
Okay, and let's see. This one is from Dev. I can't read it only. Dev Ostilcom. Well, how can we involve logic app workflow with MCP server and a multi-agent and other agents?
So that is a really good question. So Logic App basically exposes an API endpoint for any of those apps. So you would be able to connect to it through a regular API plugin, especially inside a declarative agent. Um, I would assume that from a coding agent perspective, Copilot or GitHub Copilot, for example, you would be able to use a Logic Apps MCP to get to those different workflows and invoke them as you're building. So maybe that's one of the scenarios you might have in mind. And if you're building using Foundry or Copilot Studio, those Logic apps should also be available as part of some of the connectors that you can choose in those platforms natively. So that is absolutely possible to reuse the investments you've done on Logic apps to basically surface them into any type of agent.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Next one is from Jose. I say Whisker works rock. Thank you. Yeah, it does. Okay. Question is, in short, MCP exchanges JSON via API. Briefly, how does the A2A protocol work?
That is a very good question. It is also happening through complex JSON. Um, it is modeled around gRPC. I don't think all the communication actually happens through gRPC. I'm not defining a master here. But in the end, the A2A experience is an API or a contract between two different agents. One that is the consumer, one that is the provider of the agent card. Then they talk together. So we can think about A2A as the protocol to connect agents together, and we can think about MCP as the protocol that connects an agent to a set of tools. So it's kind of a more like a one step back on this experience. So that's really how the A2A protocol was built, and WorkIQ supports A2A, supports MCP, and also has a REST interface that you can communicate with.
Yeah. Oh, and Jose has another question. Looks like there was a WorkIQ Dev CLI wicket built on top of the Microsoft Agent Framework harness. Oh, and I really like the wicket. Yeah, you should try that. Cool.
Glad to hear. The WorkIQ Dev tools and the CLI is not built on the agent framework. It's really built on the premise of an agent plugin. The plugin construct is a new standard in the AI space. It's been maybe 2 weeks that it actually was fully confirmed. It is a mix of skills and MCP servers bundled together, and that's what WorkIQ Dev Tools basically is, plus a unifying CLI experience. And that CLI experience is kind of just a very simple, I would say CRUD, maybe overly simplifying here, but a CRUD on top of the scaffolding of the agent, the deployment of the agent, the sharing of the agent, the validation of the agent, publishing of the agent, monitoring of the agent, so on and so forth. So it was not built on the agent framework harness, but it was definitely built on top of the Copilot SDK premise. But what is really cool is that agent plugins are not vendor specific. So that means that Copilot and Claude or Codex or any of the other kind of coding agents or agentic coding tools will support Wicked in its agentic mode.
All right. So let's see. We have a few questions got previously from the community. And let's say, how is Wicked different from Agent Toolkit?
Oh, that's good. Actually, Agents Toolkit is the expert into building these agents. So Agents Toolkit is really what provides the intelligence on how to build. And Agents Toolkit is fully embedded inside Wicked. You can think of Wicked as an umbrella on top um, of a ton of different other CLIs. One of them being WorkIQ, one of them being ATK or Agents Toolkit, one of them being our eval CLI, so on and so forth. So that is really how we're thinking about it. So it's nothing new. It complements the experience that we have in Agents Toolkit.
Cool. So how should we choose, which builder to begin with?
I think it's you decide if you want to go agentic. Definitely, Wicked is the approach here. Even if you want to go more like code-based experience, I would still think that's Wicked. If your organization cares about software development, best practices, SDLC, making sure that everything is like dev based in a lot of these things, I believe that starting with Wicked is the best experience possible. Then there are other tools for makers and information workers that exist, like Agent Builder to build agents, or Copilot Studio. But when you want to build something that is kind of organization wide, you want to make sure you have a lot of governance around it. I strongly believe that Wicked is the best approach here.
Cool. Oh, we got another new question from Jesse Board. There are different WorkIQ servers like WorkIQ Copilot, WorkIQ Calendar, WorkIQ Mail, etc. What is the difference between WorkIQ MCP server and these?
So that is a good question. Were the current, or I would say, the new WorkIQ MCP server, or the new WorkIQ Surface A2A MCP REST will include the vast majority of the value that all of these WorkIQ specific servers that we've had in the past will deliver. So it will not be surprising that these actually fade away in the future. Why? Because WorkIQ, the WorkIQ MCP server, actually now talks to all of these endpoints. It does not just talk to Copilot for summarization anymore. It talks to every single capabilities. If you go to the WorkIQ repo and you actually look into the skills that we have in there, you're going to really understand how all of these scenarios that were provided by the specific MCP servers can now be one-to-one with the WorkIQ MCP server, the WorkIQ MCP server. So you can think about that as in the future, the WorkIQ MCP server is what will stick around and what will be kind of your gateway to all of the context and intelligence in M365.
Yeah, it's all unified.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty, so if we don't have any more questions, I guess we can conclude it. So yeah, so like again, we have another session on September 1st, 9 a.m. in the Pacific Daylight Time. So thank you so much and see you next time.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Thank you all for joining, and thanks again to our speakers. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find our survey link on the screen or in the chat, and we'll see you at the next one.